and welcome to my channel, Fred Makes Things, and our monthly quilt update for you for January of 2025. I don't know how long this video is going to be. If you saw my community post from Monday, you will know that I am a bit under the weather. I'm feeling a lot better than I did, but I'm tired. I'm tired all of the time. And I sit here and I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I feel good. And then I get up to do something and I'm like, oh, I'm winded. I'm tired. I need a nap. So I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but it will be in 4 parts. Part 1 is going to be talking about last year's temperature quilt. That's this lovely guy that you're seeing right here. Part 2 is going to be talking about the block of the month quilt. That's this section here that you see. Part 3 is going to be talking this coming year, well, this current year's temperature quilt. I've not gotten started on that at all. And then part 4 is updates from the community. I couldn't remember where there was a part 4. But we're doing updates from the community. Timestamps are on the screen in the description box and as chapters on the video. So do feel free to jump around if there's something you're more curious about than something else. I completely understand. So yeah. Quickly, before we get into part 1 talking about this year's temperature quilt, I want to say hello and welcome to everybody. New subscribers, OG subscribers, anyone in between. Hello to the person who made me hit 1,000 subscribers over the weekend. Thank you so much for subscribing if you're watching this video. I truly appreciate it. It's been almost 5 years of having this channel. So it's really cool to finally hit 1,000 subscribers. So thank you everybody who has subscribed and helped me hit that milestone. That's so cool. I appreciate you all so much. I was gonna do like a celebratory Monday video or something to like announce the special occasion, but I wanted to make sure that the numbers stayed where they were, because sometimes subscriber counts can go up and then down again, just depending on what's going on. So I didn't want to like celebrate and then like drop back down below 1,000, but I've stayed steady now for a while, so that's really cool. And I also wanted to announce a giveaway, but I'm gonna have to table that for a little while because we had quite a few unexpected costs in January that we were not planning on. So there will be a thank you giveaway in the future, but I just have to table that for just a little bit because of costs. So anyway, let's get into the video. 5 minutes in. We'll see how often I lose my train of thought too. So I don't have enough of a filming area to show the quilt laid out completely. I want to bring your attention to a few of the things that happened in December. And then we will talk quilt. Oh, everything is uncomfortable. Okay, so if you saw December's update, then you will know that I ran out of this light blue fabric here. It was my, I don't even remember what temperature it was. It's around freezing, I think, just below freezing. Because the dark blue is 5 to 10, or maybe the dark blue is 10 to 15. I'll put the ranges on the screen for you, but I ran out of this blue. I was playing Fabric Chicken with a couple of my colors this year, but I wasn't even paying attention to this blue because we normally don't see like a whole lot of it popping up as early as we did this year. So I ran out and I had kind of put things on hold a little bit. I went to the Missouri Star Quilt Company's website to try to order more of it because that's where I bought the fabric originally. But I couldn't find it. It's an older fabric line and it is discontinued, as they do. So I was like, oh great. So then I kind of looked on the internet in general for this blue fabric and I couldn't find it anywhere within a reasonable price. Like I could get them for I think $12 or something, $15 for half a yard or a fat quarter. I don't remember, but the shipping on it was like 30 bucks and I was like, I'm not spending like $45 on a few days in the month. So I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So it's really hard to color match on the internet. So I went off to Joann Fabrics and I found a fat quarter that is here. I forgot the fat quarter swatch upstairs, but it's just kind of like a blue, darker blue, lighter blue kind of wash kind of material, right? So here's the original, here's the replacement. And it was funny because I found it in a fat quarter section that was shoved into like a corner, hiding in a whole bunch of Halloween material. And I'm like, well, that's weird, like a bunch of Halloween fat quarters. So I was like, well, that's weird. So I brought it up to the counter, and when the girl, like it was part of a fat quarter bundle, went to ring it in, it was missing its tag. And she said, oh, okay. So she went to pull up other 5-piece fat quarters. And as she was doing it, I looked and I said, this is actually 4 pieces. She's like, well, that's really weird. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, well, I don't work in fabric, so I'm not sure what's going on. So she was going to go and try to find it. But because I knew where I had found it before, I was like, well, here, like, take the line, because she was the only one on cash. I'll go take a look for it because I knew where it was. I knew it would be faster. So I went back there and I couldn't find another bundle the exact same to bring up to her. I couldn't find the fabric at all. So I was like, huh. So there was another person working, and I think they were pulling like online orders or something. And I said, hey, can I ask her, like, can you help me for a second? And she was like, yeah, sure. So I showed it to her. I explained what was going on. And she said, yeah, it looks like somebody stole one of the fat quarters from in here and then hid it. Like hit the bundle. She's like, and then you found it. She's like, so yeah. And I said, well, that sounds weird. Like, who would steal one fat quarter from a bundle? And she said, you have no idea how common it is for us to find fat quarters with, or fat quarter bundles with 1 piece missing. I was like, that's just nuts to me. Absolutely nuts. And I was like, what a weird thing, right, for you to have to deal with. And she's like, it's not even my location. It's all locations. Everyone is always finding fat quarter bundles with 1 or 2 fat quarters missing. And it's like, wow, that's just nuts to me. Absolutely nuts to me. So then I was like, okay, they called over a manager, and the manager offered me the bundle at a discounted rate. And I was like, sure. I said, or like, I just want this fabric. So like, I'll just buy that if you want to sell it to me for like a fat quarter price or something. And she was like, oh no, you can have the whole bundle. And they charged me something like $5 for 4 pieces, or for 4 fat quarters. So I'm not going to complain about that. No idea what I'm going to do with the other blue fat quarters that I now have, but, just a really interesting experience over at Joann Fabrics. I would not have thought someone would just steal a fat quarter. But anyway, so I managed to finish it off, and I ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections in that like blue color. And I think it blends in pretty nicely. Like if you're looking at it here, right, it's not this color, it's very much in this like lighter blue tone. And so I think that from afar and looking at it, you're not really going to see it. We did end up having the temperatures dip down quite a bit. Like we ended up in one of our green tones. We rarely see this green show up. I've never had to purchase more of it because It's so rare that it appears. This deep blue too is also very rare to appear. So these two here, I think one is below -10 and the other one is below -15. I think this one's below -15. The dark blue is below -10. And if we look at the beginning of the year, Junior is in my corner of my eye, so I'm sure you're going to see him jump up in a second. Okay, how am I going to find this without unfolding everything? My problem solving skills are at like 0. So here's the beginning of the year. And if we look, I have a lot of trimming to do still. But yeah, we didn't see any green and we didn't see any of that really deep blue. Actually, nope, that's a lie. We have 2 deep blues pop up in the beginning of the year, but that is it. And we only had 1 green. I think last year we only had 1 green, 1 or 2 greens, and 1 or 2 dark blues as well. So yeah, it's done. I need to trim all of the excess like threads and stuff like that I said I was going to trim as I went along. Didn't do that. Put on just a really simple border of gray so that it like frames out the quilt really nicely. And now here's a photo of it laid out onto my kitchen floor, so you can see it all together. Last year when I did this roundup, I talked about how many highs of what, like the frequency of how many colors appeared. Right now I was surprised at how we were over 30 degrees Celsius so much. Still surprised at it this year, but I have not sat down and counted it out because again I didn't keep track like I said I was going to. So I have no idea how many times the colors have popped up, but I will do a short or a reel on Instagram or something giving you all of those statistics. What I can tell you is that we cut 1,338 pieces for this quilt because we had some sections that were 3 and some sections that were 4. So a third of the quilt is roughly the 3 sections and 2/3 of the quilt are the 4 sections. And when I added up all of those plus the end pieces, right, because some of our end pieces are just long gray strips, we ended up with 1,338 cuts. Now that's not mentioning all the ones that I ended up not using, any of the wastage that I ended up making, and not counting the border pieces as well. And then finally, I did want to show you what was left of the fabric. I don't know if all of it's in here or not. I don't remember what I did with it, but it hangs out in here. And then like we have this dark green that was -21 to -25, never touched it. We've got some gray strips. We have more gray upstairs. Like I have quite a bit of gray left. Never touched the yellow, which was never even planned. Never touched this tan or this like brown color. Never touched this creamy color. These are all part of the original strips. Never touched this green, but this green has shown up in other projects. This green again, right, is part of that. This was the black and the white. This was for if I went crazy outside of my colors, right? Like if I got too hot, it was going to be white. And if it got too cold, it was going to be black to kind of show how crazy things got. That's old. That's a practice piece from last year. So we have this much orange. I have like a full strip of it still cut. And this much orange left. So with the fabric by like how much ever that is. Then red will say I've got this much red left, just a couple of strips. I don't think I have any red left in here. So it's just these strips of red. Pink, we've got this left, we've got this left, and then I accidentally ordered pink twice over, so we've got this left. How much of this do I have? Anyway, so I have quite a bit of this pink left, so you're going to see that pop up in future projects. Then we've got the purple. I've got this, or actually the fuchsia. I was playing Fabric Chicken with the fuchsia. This is all that's left of that. So I thought I was going to run out of orange or fuchsia this year. Then the purple, we've got this strip and this left. Light purple, we've got this and like this strip left. The blue is all, this is all that's, actually wait, this, and this is all that's left of this. These are all with the fabrics, by the way. And then that other blue, we don't have anything left. And then in this blue, so that blue was 0 to -4. It's just this tiny little scraggly piece left. And then like a couple of squares I cut just in case. And then this blue is this and this. Then with this blue, I never had to purchase any more fat quarters for, or any more yardage for it. It was part of the original jelly roll that I bought. And then this, right, which has just a couple of pieces cut off, -15 to -20. So I have like a whole one and then like most of a secondary one left. So what I'm going to do is I am going to cut everything up, or work with what I have already cut up in the strips, add some more strips if I need to out of the extra yardage that I have left, and then I'm going to turn this into this year's binding. So I don't know if I showed you the full picture already or not, but here is the full picture of it again, so you can kind of see. It's a lot of gray, and I'm not sure if I like it. And then here is the backing fabric that I laid out next to it, so you can kind of see what the backing fabric looks like next to it. I got this from Missouri Star Quilt Company as well. It's a extra wide back fabric called Stonehenge. I don't remember the colorway off the top of my head, but this is basically done and ready to go to the long armor. All I need to do now is trim all of the pieces or trim all of the loose threads, and then contact her to see if she can take me. This might actually be all the gray that I have left. No, I don't think so. I think this is banding. So yeah, that is where we're at with last year's temperature quilt. I talked longer than I thought I was going to. Shocking. But let's get on to part 2 and talking about the block of the month. So here's the block of the month for you. It's all assembled, and I have the very first border attached, but I still need to do the secondary border. I just haven't had the energy to be able to attach that second border. But here's a photo of what this looks like all put together. I did not count the all of the individual pieces to this because it's a lot, but I will say that all in all, I made 79 blocks for this temperature quilt. 59 blocks if you don't count the outside border blocks, because the outside border blocks have flying geese in them, so they took some time to make as well. It feels overwhelming when you talk about it in like the big realm, like the big scheme of things, but because you were able to piece it all together, right, like a month at a time, it wasn't too terrible, I don't think, to actually make this. Now, is it a little bit further outside my skill set than I probably should have attacked? Yes, probably, but it did help me, right? I think as I got along, my points got better, my squares got better, like everything started looking nicer. But when I was attaching this together, I did have to remake a couple of squares, which we knew, or a couple of blocks, which we knew we were going to have to do. Some of my lines don't line up very well, like this section here should go straight down, and it doesn't. It doesn't sit as nice. I ended up adding a little bit of fabric to this square. I should have done it to a lot more squares. Some of my seams are really, really tight, and I'm afraid that when it goes through the washer, there's going to be some seams that split, but I'm going to deal with that when we reach that point. It all came together fairly well. It all came together quite nicely, and I really enjoyed working on it. Now, I wasn't sure about some of the colorways. I didn't like some of the color combinations. I really didn't like this beigey color. I don't really like this taupey beige color. Like, I don't like these colors at all. I thought the green kind of was a weird choice for it. But when you see it all laid out, here's the photo again. When you see it all laid out, I think that it looks pretty cool. It looks busy, which helps hide some of the imperfections, but I think it looks really neat, and I really like how it all kind of works together, and I think it balances itself out really quite nicely. Now, talking about leftovers, I've got this tote for that. Sorry, I keep clearing my throat too. I'm feeling it. So these are the strips I just cut off last night as I was doing the border. So I have these as like leftover pieces. These are the strips that I need to iron again, piece together with these strips to do the border. So I don't know how much of this I am going to have left over. These are the last blocks that need to be attached. And then we have all of this. So we have quite a bit of some fabrics, not as much as others. So fabric 1, we have quite a bit of. I think there's 16 fabrics. Fabric 2, we have a little bit of. Fabric 16 pieces. 15 some pieces. What they had you do when you were prepping is to cut strips and then further segment those strips down. Number 7, number 15. This is the one that I have the least, 13. This is the one that I have the least amount of. And I actually got this in a fat quarter bundle from Sewers Club last month. So I threw that in here just in case I needed it for remaking blocks, because we'll talk about that in a sec. Actually, we'll talk about that now, because this is all that I had left of the extra 2. So if like I needed something bigger than what these little skinny strips would allow, and I needed something a little bit bigger than this, I had this on hand. So quite a bit of like usable scrap from here. Some pieces from, I don't know, random things. I don't like this one either, this colorway, but it looks really nice when it's all together. This, like, look at that. That's all I had left for scraps of this green. Pretty sure it's because I had to recut a couple of pieces. Then we've got this one here, fabric 11. Fabric 14. I had to recut a couple of pieces for this. And then we've got fabric 10. And then these are all of the original pieces. So they're I think they're laid out here mostly in their colorway. They have like, yeah, or in their order. So we've got like fabric 1. Oh no, they're all over the place. Fabric 1, fabric 11, number 2, number 3, number 5. That's a lot of strips. I wonder why that's like that. Number 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's a lot of 10. What is that? Number 10, 1 3/4 yards. 11, 12, 14, 15, and 16's on the bottom. So I have quite a bit of yardage still left of all of the pieces that I pre-cut, or of the other side to these pieces, and that's actually pretty good because there's a table runner that you can make with the scraps that I'm going to focus on next month. It's either going to be its own standalone video, or it's going to be part of next month's quilt update. I'm not certain which direction I'm going to go for that. And now all I have to do is decide what my backing is going to be, because I didn't think to order any kind of backing fabric for it. So I have no idea what we're going to be doing next for its backing. I wonder if I can take a look and see if I can piece some of the larger scraps together into like a backing for it. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I might talk to the long arm lady and see what she suggests too. All right. So that was the block of the month, and not quite finished. I will show you the finished one when it comes back from the long armor. And again, you can probably check Instagram. I'll make a note to post when I have the last border sewn and ironed, so that you can all see what it looks like together. Now let's do part 3. This year's temperature quilt. Ta-da! So I picked my colors. This is going to be the hottest temperature, so plus 30 and above. And then we're going to go to this color. I tried to keep orange out of it, but I couldn't. Included yellow, not a fan of yellow. Included greens, not as huge a fan of greens either, but I wanted to change it up from the quilt colors that I've been using. So this is what I settled on. So this is going to be our coldest. So if we go roughly, this isn't the exact number, but 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0, -5, -10, -15 Celsius. So that's my range for you. In Fahrenheit, they're roughly what, 8-degree ranges or so. But yeah, these are the colors. I seem to be really drawn to the tonal, like the tone on tone colors, but I do have a green and the yellow, which are with the white backing. But yeah, that's the color scheme that we're doing. Now let's quickly talk quilt block, because I haven't actually started cutting this up yet. I posted to my community page, what quilt block would you all like to see? And I gave you a few options. So first off, I was thinking about doing this option. Nice and simple, and I thought that it would look really cool. But the problem is that then you would have solids touch each other going into the next month, because this would be like January's month, and then this would be February's month, right? So you'd have like this like stacking of these diamonds running all the way across, and I thought, well, that's really cool. But I didn't like how you would have like solid months touching. So like February and March would look like this, right? With these sitting, with this sitting on the bottom, right? You would have that weird gap. So then I said, well, what about something like this? So, right, this would be January, and this would be February. So we would have like touching diamonds here, and then the following month we'd have touching diamonds here. So, right, it would look like this, right, on the other side. And I thought that would be really cool, right? So that every month you have joining diamonds, and it's busy and it's more work, but I thought that looks really, really cool. I like it. Don't know if my points will always match. Don't know how clean it will end up looking, but I kind of like the idea of it. But it's a lot of work, right? Because you have like a 5.5 inch depth, and then you have like 2 of these pieces attached to it. And then the problem too is that if you do 31 days across, it's a little bit wider to allow for the design. That's getting me 62 inches across, because these are 2.5 inches, right, finished 2. 64 inches across, and then it's going to be 60 inches long because of the way the design, you wouldn't have any sashing between the months. And 64 by 60, it seems like kind of like an awkward sizing. And then I wanted to also like, what I didn't like in this year's temperature quilt is that you had like these gaps of gray on the very end, and I wanted to balance that out. So January would start with like a solid color in the beginning, and then run the 31 days. February would have a new solid color in the beginning, run the 28 days, right? But then it ends better because you kind of have like a balance of like a border on each side, right? It works really well for the 30-day months, right? One on one side, one on the other side. And when you add those up, then you're looking at 64 inches by 60 inches. And I'm like, I don't know if I like that. Like, I don't know if I like that long of a strip. And this one would also be like that too. So then I made this one, same idea, right? But these are 3.5 inch square blocks, and then you have your chevron coming together, or your diamond coming into the center again, right? And this would be week 1 of 16, week 2 of 16. So I can't do the math on that, but it balances out better. It's on the screen for you. It balances out better because you would have like a grouping like this, and then your next month, right, it would be like a grouping like this. So you have like squares together with other squares, and I thought that's really nice. The problem with this is you have a 3.5 inch square and a 2.5 inch square. So that's cutting 2 different sizes when you're putting these together, which can lead to a lot more fabric waste. I like the idea of it, kind of like the look of it. My husband likes this one the most. So then I was like, well, I could keep it really simple. And that's where this one comes in. So this one would be 2 rows to a month as well, 3.5 inches. So that's like how my first, like 2023's temperature quilt was. But these are half square triangles, and I can make 2 of them out of a 4-inch square, right? So that means that there's the only wastage is just the trimming bit, and that's it. So week 1 would be like this, week 2 would be like this, and then you would have them like week 3, right? You'd have new points coming down too, so it would look like this as well. And I think that not as many people like it because of the way that I assembled the block. But even though this one here is like the outstanding winner when I ask just for general ideas on blocks, I might go with this one, even though no one likes it as much, because I think it'll look really cool when you factor in the gradient for these. Right, because it won't be as wild as this. This was just me playing with some fat quarters that I had upstairs that I knew I'd probably never use. But I think that these, right, this color grouping would look really, really nice in here. So I'm partial to this idea because it would have less fabric waste overall. It would be less work for me than these chevrons. But I really like the idea. Yeah, because this is a chevron. I really like the idea of this, and I might make this into like a lap quilt or something because I've been playing with it so much. So we might see this block in the future, but I honestly think I might just go with this much junior. With this much simpler block. But let me know in the comments. I'm not 100% attached to it. If you all want me to torture myself making these big ones, let me know. I do value your opinion, and let me know what you think about the colors that I ended up going with for my color story. It's a little different for me, especially like keeping that yellow and orange and green together. Let me know what you think. Do you like it? Do you not? Same as always, if we get somehow for some reason get below -20 or whatever was the lowest on this side, or above 35, the highest on this side, it will be white for the hot and black for the cold, to be like, look how out of norm this is. So yeah, and I haven't figured out what color of sashing or anything I'm going to do. I'm going to put some of it together and then kind of decide what I want to do with the end pieces. So let me know what you think about all of this. And now finally, part 4, updates from the community. I did not think I was going to talk this long. Look at me go with a modicum of energy. So we've had a couple of submissions this month, which is so cool. I had some of my regulars send things in. I had some people share things just for me to see how they're going along and enjoying their creative process. And I have one new person to share with you as well. So we're going to start off with our Pepper Pot. You can find her over on Instagram. As always, she's been quite busy. She sent me some photos of some small projects that she's been working on. We have a really cool tote bag that I'm going to try to get her to tell me if there's a pattern that she followed for it, or if I just make it up on my own or what, because I want to copy it. But she's got a really cool scrappy tote bag with some fabrics that I recognize, quite a few fabrics that I recognize actually. And then she has some other fun things that she was working on, a couple of other scrappy projects, and then she also finally managed to finish her dog blanket, which turned out really cool and a lot of work for a dog, I would say, but it looks really cool. All the piecing on the front is crazy, and then she has it lined or backed with like a really, looks like a nice soft fleece dog. Dog patterned fleece. And I think those are also cool. So if you're interested in her sewing adventures, do check her out on Instagram. Her stuff is always so cool. I always like when she shares things with me. We also have Liz. Liz has started her own YouTube channel. I'll have her link down in the description box for you. I've shouted her out a few times because I really enjoy what she's been like working on, and she shared 2 of her more recent quilted projects. One is called Mexican Stars, and it is just absolutely stunning. In her YouTube videos, she talked about how she's had this in her to make pile for a very long time, and she joined this challenge, I'll say. I don't remember what it was, but she joined this challenge, and her first, like, she gave I think what she did is she sent in a bunch of projects that needed to be worked on. I don't quite remember the exact details, but she sent in a whole bunch of like submissions, and then her very first project to come back on in this challenge was to work on this Mexican stars project, and it turned out so cool. Like, I think it's so great, especially for her working with a technique she's never done before. And then the other one was like a project that she got in her advent calendar unboxings in December, and it also looks really, really cool. And if you saw my haul video and you saw me talk about the fat quarter, the mystery fat quarter bundle that I got from Fat Quarter Shop, I said, oh, this really kind of reminds me of the color scheme from before. I was someone else. This is what I was thinking of, like Liz's project. So she's pretty cool. I'm liking her channel. So check her out if you want to follow more like quilting things. She does a lot of like what I'm working on kinds of videos, and has this like whole scrap series that she's doing that is really quite cool to follow along with. And then we have Kenyatta, one of the very OG subscribers. She's also going to be listed down in the description box. And she sent me a couple of photos of things she's been working on. She made a horse, first time for her to do that, and I thought it turned out really cool. She's been teaching herself how to knit and crochet, so she sent me some face cloths, I think, or dishcloths. She's been making these really cool, oh, I don't remember what they're called. Like, I don't want to mess it up, so I'm going to look it up and put it up on the screen. But, right, it's like a protective, head covering. I want to say it's like a giant toque or a bonnet, but they're really, really cool. She has her own Etsy shop too, where she sells her crochet projects. So she's been doing a lot of really cool stuff over on her channel too, teaching herself how to knit and kind of playing around with what's going on there. And now for the newest person who sent in her stuff, her name is Nicole. I don't really have any social media handles for her, but she did want to share her progress. And this is a bake she made for her coworker out of, I want to say, the second Hooks and Needles box. And I think it turned out really, really cool. Like, I liked the second Hooks and Needles box, and I think that for me, making a purse as the third project was a bit daunting, but she did such a great job on it, and it's just so cool to see how other people manage to work through some of the things that they're sent and what they think about them, their opinions on different things. And so, yeah, that is updates from the community. That is a very long quilt update video for you. I am not looking forward to editing this. Like, what was I thinking? But I'm sure you can hear I'm losing my voice. I think I'm probably going to take a nap after this and then get to editing it, because it's Tuesday night when I'm filming this for a Wednesday morning video. But what do you think? Do you like the progress that I've made? Are you excited to see what things I come up with this year? Are you I completely lost my train of thought. I have no idea what question I was gonna say. Do you have ideas for how I can back this sucker here, this block of the month? Dude, would you be curious to see me kind of mess around with the quilt top without following any sort of patterns and just doing my own thing? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section. Do you think I need to swap out any colors from my temperature quilt palette, or are you excited to see what kind of rainbow I'm going to do with these kinds of muted tones? I completely left purple out because I had so much purple and pinks and fuchsias in the last two quilts that I didn't want to go there. I also didn't touch any blues or anything. I stayed really in the gray blue and greens and yellow and orange kind of families. So hopefully that'll start looking a little bit different than before. And what do you think of my choice on blocks? Let me know all of that. What do we have coming up? Friday is going to be a stash builder unboxing. I got that in the mail today, so that is exciting. Monday is going to be our crochet update hooks and needles video for you. After that, I am not so sure what we are going to be doing. I'm going to kind of play it by ear because I tell you, this flu has hit me hard. It's very weird. It's just really just like a cough, a massive headache, body aches, and overwhelming exhaustion. Like I sleep for 4 hours, 5 hours, I'm awake for 3 hours, and then I'm back to sleep again. Like, ew, and it's been over a week. And now the cats are acting up. So, let me know everything that you think down in the comment section. Do think about subscribing and help me hit, I don't know, I don't have any milestones. Like I never thought I'd get much farther than 1,000. But help me with the progress, I guess. Give me ideas on quilts and things you would like to see in the future, or sewing projects or anything like that. And I'm gonna go. So like the video if you've made it to the end. I said it was going to be short and it is not. And I'm going to go. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will talk with you again soon. Bye!